We welcome in Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, Sully, how are you?
Good, man. Big day for high school basketball as the Cape Atlantic League Championships going on at Stockton University. Kind of what we expected on the boys' side with St. Augustine Prep going up against Atlantic City.
Yeah, really, I guess you could say the chalk held on both sides. You've got, top-seeded St. Augustine against second-seeded Atlantic City, like you said, on the boys' side. And on the girls' side, you've got, top-seeded Ocean City against second-seeded Middle Township. So, the top two seeds in both brackets get through, and teams that are familiar with each other. Atlantic City and St. Augustine played about 2 weeks ago with St. Augustine winning 60-53, and this will be the third meeting of the year between Middle Township and Ocean City. And, of course, Ocean City took the first two, and the old sports, saying is it's tough to beat a team, 3 times in one season, so we'll see what happens today.
I'll be interested to see how the boys' game is officiated. They were calling it pretty tight the last time St. Augustine played Atlantic City, and that really had a big effect on Atlantic City. Lamar Thomas, basically their point guard, had to sit out the entire second quarter, and that really hurt their flow. How do you expect it to go today? I mean, obviously these teams know each other. They know what each team is trying to do. What does Atlantic City have to do to pull off the upset here?
Well, I think both teams are really playing excellent defense. I think both teams are playing well, and you look at an indication of that. That Atlantic City St. Augustine game was on February 15th. St. Augustine, like you said, jumped out to a big lead there in the second quarter. Atlantic City comes storming back in the second half. St. Augustine holds on for a 60-53 win. Then 4 days later, St. Augustine plays nationally ranked St. Anthony of Jersey City, and St. Augustine's only down 4 with 4 minutes to play in the game. So that gives you an indication of the level that these two teams are playing with. And like you said, both teams are going to be out there playing excellent defense. Defense is really Atlantic City's calling card. And St. Augustine, with the exception of the first half against Middle Township in the semifinals, where Middle Township scored 30-something points and I believe had a 5-point lead at halftime. In the second half, St. Augustine really turned up the defense and was able to pull away for an easy win in that game. So, it's a championship game. A couple things you kind of look for is who can make some, when teams are playing good defense, who can make some timely perimeter shots at the right moment to really propel their team or put their team on a run. And the guy who's been able to do that for St. Augustine is Austin Kennedy all season long. And, of course, you mentioned Lamar Thomas with the ability to hit big three-pointers for Atlantic City. So it could be that timely perimeter shot comes late in the second half that makes a difference today.
I think two guys that I've really had my eye on, two of these younger guys who have really made an impact and are starting to really make a name for themselves for Atlantic City, Munir Harris, and for St. Augustine, Walter Harvey. Talk about these guys a little bit and how important they are to those teams. I mean, you saw against Pleasantville, Atlantic City really relied on Munir Harris that game to kind of set the tone and set, defensively as well as, he led the team with 16 points.
Yeah, Munir Harris, about a 6'5" center for Atlantic City, and he's really been a defense and a defensive force, a rebounding force all season. He did a great Gene Allen impersonation in the locker room after the game, where Coach Allen has kind of been on him to score more all season long. And on Thursday night in the semifinals, a 10 or 11-point win over Pleasantville, he had 16 points. If they can get that sort of scoring out of Munir Harris to complement the scoring that they get from Lamar Thomas, Ashion Sentino, and the sophomore Ray Bethea Jr., Atlantic City becomes that much tougher to beat. On the flip side, you look at St. Augustine, everybody knows about Saeed Nelson. He's the press player of the year last season. He's one of the best guards, if not the best guard in the state this year. He's averaging 22 points. You've got Justin Mutz, who has kind of, in the last 2 to 3 weeks, emerged as kind of Bill Russell. He's blocking 6, 7, 8 shots a game. He blocked 9 shots the last time Atlantic City played. And I mentioned Austin Kennedy, and you mentioned the other two St. Augustine starters. One is Walter Harvey, the other is Harvey, a junior, Hargis, a sophomore. So again, in championship games, you kind of look. Each team has its mainstays, but if Munir Harris can duplicate his effort, if Harvey or Hargis could, get the double figures for St. Augustine, which they are certainly capable of doing, that could propel a team to victory. And, of course, another key player for Atlantic City, Ahmad Biggins, the senior guard who has come off the bench recently and really given them a spark. He sparked the comeback against St. Augustine on February 15th. He had 19 against Ocean City in the quarterfinal win. He had 10 the other night. So there's another guy you can watch for Atlantic City, Ahmad Biggins, off the bench.
Yeah, he's really been coming on the last 3 weeks or so and providing some great minutes. He provides a nice compliment to Lamar Thomas there on the outside.
Yeah, he's got an ability. He's got an ability to really get in the lane and create shots not only for himself and teammates, and he kind of takes the pressure off Lamar Thomas. It's a lot to do to ask. Lamar Thomas leads the Vikings in scoring with 15 points. It's a lot to ask a kid to lead the team in scoring. Dribble the ball off court on every play, and also play great defense. So Ahmad Biggins, able to help Lamar out in that area, and is in the midst of a nice stretch run himself.
One of the other interesting facts, and we're talking to Mike McGarry from the Press for Atlantic City about the Cape Atlantic League Championship games. You have some just outstanding coaching in these two games. I mean, these are some of the real heavyweights in terms of Cape Atlantic League coaching. You got Paul Baruffi's got over 300 wins. Rodeo, the court's named after him at St. Augustine. Gene Allen, right. John Leahy. These guys know how to prepare for these types of games, and that's kind of an interesting side story. Is how are these coaches going to match their wits against each other once these games get going and you see the flow of the game?
Well, it's probably no coincidence that these teams are here when you consider, what their coaches and programs have accomplished. Like you said, when you look at St. Augustine and Atlantic City, I know that between the players and especially between Coach Allen and Coach Rodeo, there's a lot of respect there. There's a lot of friendship. St. Augustine and Atlantic City are the two most accomplished programs in the Cape Atlantic League. Since the Cape Atlantic League kind of started this title game in 1992. Of course, they added the tournament, the preliminary games in 2012. Atlantic City has won 9 Cape Atlantic League championships. St. Augustine has won 8. Gene Allen has led Atlantic City to 3 state titles. Paul Rodeo has led St. Augustine to 4 state titles. So both of them have just had tremendous careers. And on the flip side, in Paul Baruffi and John Leahy, you've got 2 of the best coaches, 2 of the best girls basketball coaches, or maybe 2 of the best coaches in the state also. Consistent winners on their side. And really just there's no, when you look at the teams and the coaches, it's no wonder why these teams are here today.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you look at these seasons, these 4 teams have combined for more than 80 wins. So definitely some outstanding programs. What are you looking for real quick in the girls' game? Middle Township has been on a roll. They've won 9 in a row, but Ocean City's won 5 in a row, and they've had, probably the best season out of all the Cape Atlantic League teams. It's going to be a tough matchup for Middle, I think, trying to create some tempo to sort of get it going in their favor. Ocean City's one of these teams that really likes to slow it down and take their time on each possession. They try to frustrate you into making mistakes on the defensive end with these minute and a half possessions.
Yeah, what I look for in the girls' game is defense and more defense. I mean, these are 2 programs that are built on defense, play excellent defense. Leahy joked that the first team to 30, could win. I think it's going to be the team that finds a way to score some easy baskets, is able to convert some turnovers, get some putback here or there. That's going to be the team. When points are at a premium, it's going to be the team that can find a way to get some easy baskets and doesn't have to rely on running their sets perfectly. That could get the win. So again, like we said with the boys, it's going to be it could be a timely basket in the fourth quarter, but defense is going to be so tough in that game. The team that finds a way to get an easy basket here or there could have a big advantage in the girls' game today.
In the girls' game, how does Ocean City counteract Bridget Ruski and Jenna Hurley? These are 2 of the best athletes in the Cape Atlantic League, and you saw what they can do against Wildwood Catholic. They're such a tough matchup. Could Ocean City match up with them on a defensive end? And if so, what do they have to do to kind of force somebody else to beat them?
Well, I think what Ocean City's probably going to do is, they're going to, this is a team that gives up less than 30 points a game, so they're going to defend, and they're probably going to, obviously put somebody on Ruski and put somebody on Hurley, and both of them have the ability to get in the lane and finish, so they're probably going to, put defenders on them and then keep some people in the lane and try to shut down their penetration. Keep those two players out of the lane, and maybe make them give up the ball and make another Middle Township player try to hit a perimeter shot to beat them. So, that would probably be the strategy there. Of course, that's easier said than done. Bridget Ruskey is one of the best athletes in the state of New Jersey, and a standout lacrosse player who's a junior who's already committed to LaSalle. A basketball player averages 14 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists, and a great soccer player, too. She is just one of the really, really great athletes in the entire state of New Jersey. So that's the strategy, but it's easier said at 9:11 in the morning than it'll be executed at noon at Stockton, basically.
Sure. Talking with Mike McGarry of the Press for Atlantic City. Mike, real quick before we let you go, state playoffs start on Monday. What are you looking for next week? Anybody in South Jersey that is a real candidate to pull off maybe a first-round upset that we might not be thinking about?
Well, I think when you look at the state playoffs, I'm interested in Group 3 a little bit. I think the Ocean City boys, who of course lost to Atlantic City in the first round, can make a little bit of a run in Group 3 with Connor Labadie. I think they've been playing well. They open up with Pinelands on Monday night, and then I think the story of the state playoffs will be just how tough, how quickly they get hard for some of the area's good teams. We mentioned Atlantic City and St. Augustine. St. Augustine has a potential quarterfinal matchup with a tough Union Catholic team from North Jersey. Atlantic City's got to go on the road to Toms River North, one of the best teams in the Shore Conference in the second round. That's not easy. Middle Township boys have a tough potential game with semifinal game or quarterfinal game with Medford Tech, who is playing well over from Burlington County. So I think that's going to be the theme of the state playoffs for at least the Cape Atlantic League teams, is how early they get tough. And then, of course, on the girls' side, you're staring right down the barrel of a potential fourth meeting between the Ocean City and mainland girls. So, that's what you're looking at on the girls' side there.
Good stuff, Mike. Appreciate it, as always. We'll catch up with you next week and talk a little more basketball. Thanks, bud.
All right, Sully, no problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, see you out there today.
Yep. See you there.
All right. Cape Atlantic League Championships, noon for the girls game, 2 o'clock for the boys. Going to be some great basketball out there at Stockton University. Get out there if you get a chance.